Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome on into the Neutral Zone on Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tonight, got some live hockey going on. We're going to recap the action from the first period of Vegas and Dallas Game 3. Plus, we got a good backstory on Jack Eichel fitting in well for Vegas, Florida winning the trade for Matthew Tkachuk so far, Connecticut governor making a pitch to Bettman for the Coyotes relocation to Hartford. Could we see Hartford Whalers 2.0? Ooh. Banner year for South Florida with the Heat and the Panthers in the conference finals of both their respective sports. We got Kraken season in review from the players. And hey, you might need to go get those brooms. We could be on a path to 2 possible sweeps in the conference finals. Plus some quick hits and historical facts that have happened so far. And like I said, we're going to recap the action from Game 3 so far. Dallas and Vegas. All that and more coming up next on the Neutral Zone. So, don't forget to the boards, stay out of the penalty box, protect your 5-hole, and light the lamp. Let's go! Welcome on in, friends. You've found yourself in the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Zach Puplis. Adam Karnick is off tonight. We got lots of action to get into from the game on right now, plus the other series going on. Florida and Carolina yesterday. Florida took a 3-0 game lead, and the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights are playing right now. Vegas with a 2-0 game lead could possibly be well on their way to a 3-0 game lead, up 3-0 in the first period at the first intermission. So we'll recap some more of that and lots more stories to get into. But like always, we want to do our housekeeping here real quick. For the last 9 years now, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. First one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. That being said, we want to thank our Patreon supporters: Bay Area Raised, M. Los Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Okay, so lots to get into tonight. We'll start with the current action going on right now. Vegas leads the Dallas Stars 3-0 in Game 3. This is first intermission. Vegas also leads the series 2-0. So we could see 2 possible sweeps on both sides, Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Oh, excuse me. So keep your brooms at the ready. Let's see. In other news tonight, Jack Eichel seems to be a seamless fit with the Golden Knights, with another cup run in sight. Ryan Clark, ESPN.com. There's mistakes made, and they cashed in, and they made a really good play, Stars coach Pete DeBoer said. Jack Eichel makes a world-class pass. World-class. It's a label DeBoer used to describe Eichel, a player he coached last season, not even an hour after the game ended. He's not the only one who used the phrase. Golden Knights defenseman Alex Pietrangelo went as far as saying, Eichel was a world-class player. Describing a person or their actions as world-class brings no guarantee they'll actually live up to that standard. But that was always the expectation with Eichel, who has been tagged with that superlative for some time. Labels can be dangerous, so can superlatives. This is why it is suggested that those who use them be careful, because there's no way of telling if the expectation itself can be too much to bear before it's too late. Belief can create pressure, and pressure is something Vegas Golden Knights center Jack Eichel has learned to manipulate in ways that work for him. Eichel is the type of talent executives in front offices long for: a number one center, a franchise cornerstone, a player to build around. These are all statements that have been made at one time or another about Eichel. That is why the Buffalo Sabres drafted him second overall in 2015, and why the Golden Knights parted with two promising players and two high draft picks to get him. Eichel's talent was never in question. How he would fit in with the Golden Knights came with questions because of how everything ended with the Sabres. He went from being star of the future and captain to battling with the franchise about treatment options for a disc in his neck that caused him to miss time across 2 seasons. He was stripped of his captaincy before being traded November 4th, 2021. That was all going down just as we were starting our show. That was the first season we did this show. Golden Knights forward Keegan Colasar says, I think all those rumors about problems or challenges with Jack have been squashed pretty quickly. He's a pretty awesome guy. I got to know him very quickly. The move to Vegas came with questions. Would Eichel be the same or an even better version of himself following the surgery? If so, could he be the missing piece to help the Golden Knights win the title they've been chasing since reaching the Cup final in their inaugural season of 17-18? What Eichel has done this postseason has led to even more questions. Could this be the year the Golden Knights win it all? Will the playoffs end with Eichel posing for photos with the Stanley Cup on one side and the Conn Smythe Trophy on the other? Maybe. Then there's this question. What has Eichel done that has made him so beloved within the Golden Knights dressing room? I've been here for 5 years now. It's a pretty easy group of guys to jump into, Vegas captain Mark Stone said. I did it. Petro did it. Everybody who's coming here. There's been a lot of turnover trying to make this team better. It's been a testament to Jack coming in here and not trying to change anything. Just trying to fit in. That's all the guys want here. They just want guys to come in, be themselves, and fit into the group. One might think about Eichel's teammates, what they had heard about his time with the Sabres, and if they had any preconceived thoughts about him that could create awkwardness or even tension. But that's not the case at all. You hear the Buffalo stories about him, this and that. Golden Knights center Chandler Stevenson said, then he comes over here and none of those were even close. You see that he's just a good dude and such an unbelievable hockey player. Now it's like he's always been here and how he is and how comfortable he is. Even before he left for his surgery, Eichel began to get to know his teammates. Colasar said his first encounter with Eichel was when they had breakfast together at the team's practice facility. Eichel was sitting down at the table when Colasar went up to him and introduced himself and sat down. They just started hitting it off. Stevenson estimated that it took Eichel around 2 days to start feeling comfortable with the rest of the team. But Stevenson added, that's not at all unusual with the Knights. Let's see. Attempting to build what they deem to be the ideal roster is an exercise that can leave general managers in one of two places. Either they concentrate on what they have or they focus on what they don't have. Sometimes they can do both at once. When Golden Knights GM Kelly McCrimmon explains the circumstances that led to him acquiring Eichel, it's evident he was living in both spaces. McCrimmon said that the last time the Golden Knights played the Stars in the postseason, in the Edmonton bubble back in 1920, it became clear to him certain items are needed to win a Stanley Cup. McCrimmon said that what the Tampa Bay Lightning had with Victor Hedman and the St. Louis Blues with Pietrangelo showed that championship teams cannot win without a number one defenseman. I think in the same breath, so is a number one center, McCrimmon said. We had good centers, but if you look at the Montreal series in the 2021 playoffs, Chandler Stevenson was injured. All of a sudden, you've run out of centers. Right now, one of the strengths of our team is our strength up the middle. Strengths, as in plural. Being formidable in a variety of areas is part of the reason Golden Knights winger Jonathan Marchessault said after Game 2 that this year's team is the best we've ever had. Eichel is one of 6 Golden Knights players with more than 10 points this postseason. He's tied with Stone for the team lead in assists and tied for third on the team with 6 goals, with William Karlsson and Stevenson tied for first with 7. Still, Eichel has at times stood out with flashes of brilliance. Take Game 5 against Edmonton. He had that goal that tied it 1-1. And then after the Oilers went up 2-1 to end the first period, he had a hand in 2 of 3 straight Vegas goals, including the game winner in a critical 4-3 victory. Then, of course, there's also the assist in Game 2 against Dallas that resurfaced the world-class tag. Let's see. What was Eichel's take on the play? He was matter-of-fact when describing it, saying he was trying to read the situation with the context of the Stars' ability to condense space and shrink the zone, which presents challenges. It's just a good forecheck by us. Barbs makes a great play on the wall, getting it back, Eichel said. Just Marshy's in the slot. He does a great job of getting inside, and it's a great finish by him. That shows off another skill that makes Eichel special, as he turned a question about himself into an answer about everyone else, and everything else. If anything, it's more like an interchangeable assembly line in how everyone understands that they have a job, but is aware of what's asked of them could change at any moment. In that regard, Eichel is no different. Yet the great irony in all this, that approach could be the reason Eichel wins a title, but not the Conn Smythe in what is his first postseason appearance. Oddsmakers aren't shy about Eichel's Conn Smythe chances. Caesars Sportsbook lists him at 9-2 odds, with a third choice behind Panthers teammates Tkachuk and goalie Sergei Bobrovsky. Eichel said of the Knights, I think everyone brings something different to the group. We've done a good job gelling as a team this year, and I think everyone enjoys each other's company. I think with that, it allows you to be yourself every day. The more time you spend around people, I think the more comfortable you get. I think that's sort of the big thing for me. It's just getting to spend time away from the rink with the guys, going on trips and being on the road. You get to know people. They get to know you. It allows you to be yourself. And there you go. We're back from first intermission. We got 18 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second period. Vegas still up 3-0 on Dallas. Vegas leads the series 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals. Jamie Benn has been tossed. He had a 5-minute major and a game at misconduct for a cross-check. Let's see here. History has already been made in both of these conference finals. This is the first time in NHL history that the first 4 games all went to overtime. How crazy is that? And history could be made yet further if these sweeps continue. Go get your brooms. We could have a brand new Stanley Cup winner for the very first time if these sweeps continue. Like we said, it could be Florida and Vegas, and at that point, neither team has won a cup, so it could be brand new experiences for both of them. I believe both of them have been to the final, just have not won it. If the sweeps don't continue, and Dallas and Carolina are able to pull off miracles and turning these two series around, the Canes could be in their first cup and could win their first cup since 2006. Stars would have a chance to win their first cup since '99. So, we talked a little bit about, a lot about Jack Eichel. Let's switch our focus to the Panthers. This is Matthew Tkachuk's first year with the Panthers after coming over in a trade from Calgary last offseason. Their first two games of the series went to overtime, and both of those games were ended by overtime winners from, you guessed it, Matthew Tkachuk. So he has definitely shown his worth to the team, and they are definitely on the winning end of that deal so far, with two overtime game winners and a 3-0 series lead in that series in the Eastern Conference Finals. And heck, they're one win away from the Stanley Cup Finals. Like we said, the team has never won a cup before. So like I said, they're definitely winning that trade. Also want to let you guys know, if you want to interact with the show, if you're listening on Spreaker tonight, you can hop on in the chat room, and we can, if there's any questions or comments or anything you got, we can discuss those. Or you can follow us on our Twitter, if I can pull it up real quick. That's at IESR Neutral Zone. So hit us up there, follow us, and we'll always have fun new content and fun little stuff for you. Or you can follow myself at the Pupless. All right, that being said, we are going to take our first break. You are listening to The Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be back after this.
Green team, set, hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always willing to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Picking on the Arizona Coyotes, who would ever do that? Well, I'm about to right here. Welcome back to the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Zach Puplis. Adam Karnick is off tonight. We will poke some more fun at the Arizona Coyotes in a little second here. But first, we must update you with the score tonight. Vegas is up now 4-0 in the second period. 11 minutes and 21 seconds left in Game 3 of the Western Conference Final. Vegas leads that series 2-0. So that was a goal by Alex Pietrangelo, looks like. So, wow. Well, hey, if Vegas was down 2-1 almost the entire game on Sunday and came back to win it 3-2, there's a chance, but Vegas looks like they're putting this one increasingly out of reach for Dallas. Okay, so I promised Arizona Coyotes. Here we go. The Connecticut governor is making a pitch to NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman for Coyotes' relocation to Hartford. Could we see, possibly, Hartford Whalers 2.0? Ooh, maybe. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont said Friday he's planning to meet with NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman about the possibility of moving the Arizona Coyotes to Hartford. Lamont told reporters during news availability that he has reached out to the NHL and hopes the meeting can take place sometime next week. This is from ESPN.com and the Associated Press from May 19th. What was that, Friday? Yeah. Quote, "This is a great hockey state and a great hockey town," Lamont said. "It's evidenced by the passion we have for the Whalers going back years. Still one of the best-selling jerseys. I think we can guarantee them a very strong market right here and a government that's ready to come and be their partner." End quote. Not only that, but they've got a good college hockey fan base too, with Quinnipiac winning the Frozen Four this year. Talk of a relocation for the Coyotes has taken on steam since voters in Tempe, Arizona this week rejected a referendum for a $2.3 billion entertainment district that would allow the franchise to build a new arena there. Connecticut has not had an NHL team since the Hartford Whalers left for North Carolina to become the Carolina Hurricanes in 1997. The state has just one top-tier professional sports franchise, the WNBA's Connecticut Sun, which plays at the Mohegan Sun Arena, a 10,000-seat facility that is not built for hockey. The possibility of a move to Connecticut is considered a long shot. Hartford's 48-year-old XL Center, where the Whalers once played, is in need of a major renovation. Its operator, the Capital Region Development Authority, is expected to begin taking bids soon on repairs that have estimated at a cost of at least $107 million. A number of other cities have already been named as potential landing spots for the Coyotes, should the franchise choose to move. Those include Atlanta, yay, Thrashers 2.0, Portland, Oregon, Kansas City, Houston, Milwaukee, Salt Lake City, Quebec City, and Hamilton, Ontario. Hit us up in the chat, and we can see what kind of shows of support there are for all of these different cities, or even find us on Twitter at IESR Neutral Zone. Okay. So, poor Coyotes. Ooh. Up next, we got a recap from the Kraken players on their remarkable sophomore season that led to a playoff run, ending at the hands of the Dallas Stars last round. They're pleased after their playoff run, but they're still not satisfied. Associated Press and ESPN.com, May 18th. As the Seattle Kraken scattered following the end of their second season in existence, general manager Ron Francis and coach Dave Haxtell received an overwhelming message from their players. Getting to the playoffs. Oh, and Vegas is on another power play, 2-minute power play, 9 minutes and 18 seconds left in the second. So we'll see. Maybe they can get another goal out of this one. Getting to the playoffs and making a run was great and will go a long way in helping establish the Kraken in their hometown. But there was also a missed opportunity to do something really special with this season. Quote, we didn't have to say that. Our players were saying that to us, Francis said Thursday. They understood that they had a good season, but they were not happy that they didn't advance beyond this round. End quote. Seattle's management was still dealing with the mixed emotions that came with the Kraken's unexpected playoff run and the disappointment when it ended earlier this week, or last week, I guess, in a Game 7 loss to Dallas in the Western Conference Finals, or Western Conference semifinals. Making the playoffs was significant for the second-year franchise. Knocking out defending champion Colorado galvanized the community. That was huge. That's a record for NHL history, too. But there was a bitter taste left behind from falling to the Stars. Quote, we felt like we had a great commitment right from day one of training camp all the way through, Hackstall said. There was a real purpose to everything that the guys were doing on a daily basis. That tracks back to your leadership, end quote. The messages both given and received by Hackstall and Francis were also pointed towards next season and not letting the playoff run be a one-time event in the infancy of the franchise. Francis noted that there will be room to improve the roster. Seattle has 10 draft picks and is expected to have a chunk of space under the salary cap. Some of that money seems destined to go to defenseman Vince Dunn, who will be a restricted free agent, with forward Ryan Donato and defenseman Carson Saucy. Saucy, oh boy. Highlighting Seattle's list of unrestricted free agents. Quote, we're hopeful, yeah, but we'll have to see how those go. We haven't started them yet, Francis said of talks with Dunn, who had a career-high 64 points. Usually, if you get a deal where the team is not happy and the player is not happy, that's probably a fair deal. So we'll see if we can strive to get to that point. Seems a little counterintuitive, but I guess I see where they're coming from. End quote. One player Seattle would like to get a full season from is forward Andrei Burakovsky, who missed the final 3 months because of an injury. Francis provided clarity about what happened with Burakovsky, who was Seattle's leading scorer when he last took the ice for a game in early February. Francis said Burakovsky tore a groin muscle in his first shift of Seattle's first game following the All-Star break against New Jersey. The initial diagnosis was that Burakovsky should be back in time after the trade deadline and would be in turn Seattle's roster addition. But Burakovsky had a pair of setbacks along the way that eventually led to surgery to fully repair the injury in mid-April. If Seattle had advanced to the Stanley Cup final, there was a chance Burakovsky could have returned. We missed him, Francis said, but also great job by the guys in the locker room. They didn't use it as an excuse or a crutch. They continued to fight and battle and believe in what they had and found a way to still have some success. Francis said the expectation that Burakovsky would return played into Seattle's decision not to make any moves at the trade deadline. That also worked out in Seattle's favor, giving the Kraken maximum flexibility going into the offseason. Quote, if there's a way that we can improve our team and we feel makes us better, we're certainly not going to hesitate to do that, Francis said. But we think we've got a good lineup and we're headed in the right direction. End quote. So, there you go. Their sophomore season ended in a loss in the playoffs, but hey, they made the playoffs in their second year. I mean, short of Vegas going to the Stanley Cup final in their first year, you hardly ever see that from a expansion franchise. Brett Howden got a penalty for tripping, so now Dallas is on the power play, 2 minutes. Vegas is still ahead 4-0 in the second with 6 minutes and 12 seconds left to go. Here, I got another one about the Coyotes. Where should the Arizona Coyotes franchise play next? Greg Wyshynski, ESPN, May 18th. The Arizona Coyotes just won't quit. They're the NHL equivalent of a 1980s horror movie monster snapping back into consciousness after being electrocuted for the 10th time, shambling along in defiance of its assumed mortality while everyone runs away screaming. Consider, if you will, their history. Coyotes have changed owners several times. They've gone bankrupt, and as a result were owned by the NHL for a time. They found the one thing at which Wayne Gretzky wasn't great, coaching. They almost relocated to Hamilton, Ontario, and Seattle, among other destinations. They've missed the Stanley Cup playoffs in 10 of the past 11 seasons, interrupted only by a brief appearance in the 24-team expanded pandemic postseason of 2020. They were evicted from their home arena in Glendale, only to move to a 5,000-seat college hockey arena on the campus of Arizona State for potentially 4 seasons. It's called Mullet Arena. You can't make this stuff up. The Dallas power play is over. They're back at full strength, both teams. Dallas is 0-2 on the power play tonight. On Tuesday, the Monster received its latest death blow. Voters in Tempe emphatically rejected a ballot initiative for a $2.1 billion entertainment district that would have included a new Coyotes arena. It was a vote that crushed fans' hopes and gutted the team's management. Quote, "There's no plan B at this point," one team source said. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman said in a statement, "The NHL is terribly disappointed by the results of the public referenda regarding the Coyotes Arena project in Tempe. We're going to review with the Coyotes what the options might be going forward." Notice what Bettman didn't say there. Anything that resembled his emphatic past support of the franchise remaining in Arizona. Like 2 years ago when the Coyotes' financial disputes with Glendale were being publicly discussed, and he said, "Coyotes aren't going anywhere." Perhaps it's because without an arena or a plan B, they are finally going somewhere else. Let's see. Coyotes thought they were winning this vote. Internally, they were estimates of a 10-point advantage in the polling. The team had booked President and CEO Xavier Gutierrez to do rounds on media on Wednesday in anticipation of a victory lap. Instead, he went radio silent when the initiative was defeated. The team thought it had made its case from the private funding to the benefits of the project to the community. It had its endorsements from politicians past and present, all noting that this unusable landfill was going to be put to good use. I don't know if it was overconfidence or hubris, but the Coyotes clearly miscalculated on some aspects of the vote. The opposition was better funded and controlled the messaging early. A lot of what was being said about the bid was misinformation about taxes, public funding, and owner Alex Marulio's messy breakup with Glendale. Coyotes spent less, were playing catch-up on messaging, and couldn't reframe the argument for enough voters. They also couldn't get out the vote. One factor I heard, some difficulties in their relationships with local labor unions that would have worked on building the entertainment district. As is often the case in local elections, they could have helped swing that vote. Well, why didn't the Coyotes fans show up to support the initiative? I think they would have if this wasn't a city ballot initiative. If it was a Maricopa County ballot measure, that brings in the majority of the Coyotes fan base in places like Scottsdale. Asking why hockey fans in Tempe didn't turn out for the arena vote is paradoxical. The new arena was intended to create new fans. How could one expect those fans to vote for that arena before themselves are created? Oh my gosh. Whoa. Trippy. In the wake of the vote, there was an immediate speculation about where the Coyotes might relocate to. But as I first reported on Wednesday, the team will spend the 23-24 season in Mullet Arena. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, it's true that the teams can relocate rather quickly. The Atlanta Thrashers relocation was approved in mid-May in 2011, and their sale to True North to become the Winnipeg Jets was announced on May 31st. But outside of perhaps Quebec, there's no plug-and-play relocation destination for the Coyotes. The last thing the NHL wants to do is botch the entry into a new market due to a hasty move. So if the Coyotes are relocating, the process will be more meticulous, finding including finding the right new owner. It's my understanding that Marullo won't own the team outside of Arizona. And finding the right city. As you can see here, there are plenty of options. With the 2 new expansion franchises since 2017, and now, the potential of a team moving, the NHL is becoming the NFL, like just constant year-round talking points, even in the off season. First it was, oh my gosh, Vegas got a team. What are they going to call it? What are their colors going to be? Where are they going to play? This is going to be so exciting. Who are they going to draft? And then it's, Seattle got a team. Who are they going to draft? What are their colors going to be? Where are they going to play? What's the team name going to be called? So on. And now that both of those are in existence, it's like, okay, well, maybe the Coyotes are moving, and where might they move to? This would be fascinating. It's just days of our lives, but hockey style. Okay, so possibilities: Houston, Salt Lake City, Kansas City, Missouri, Sacramento, California. Really interesting. Hartford, like we discussed earlier, Quebec City. That's probably the one that's just been the most talk about, even back when they added Las Vegas and Kraken and Seattle. Toronto, really? That's interesting. Phoenix, and then back to Glendale. Oh my gosh! Wow. Why would they put 2 in Toronto? Influential NHL agent Alan Walsh made the case in the wake of the Coyotes vote that there's no better place to relocate a team other than Ontario. Vegas is on a power play, by the way. 24 seconds left. Still leading 4-0. It's 1 minute and 49 seconds left in the second. So Alan Walsh says, no better place to relocate a team to other than Ontario. A second NHL team in Toronto has always made sense to me. In fact, I've argued it should be a Western Conference team, having both conferences come through the, quote, center of the hockey universe with frequency. It would immediately be among the top 3 revenue teams in the league, Walsh wrote. We have a 50-50 salary cap, and the league has a moral obligation to players to maximize a hockey-related revenue. A second team in Ontario would be a revenue-generating monster. If the NHL is willing to get rid of that cap, it can keep or place franchises wherever it wants. Okay, that turned into a luxury tax argument in the end, but you catch his point. Toronto could support a second team. And with the market turning heel on the Maple Leafs again, there's probably a lane open for an alternative. I will reiterate my stance. If a team enters the market as competition for that original 6 franchise, they must be called the Rakes or the Blowers, a.k.a. the sworn enemies of the Leafs. That's awesome. Yes. But the idea that the NHL would ever allow for a relocation fee versus an expansion fee from a second Toronto owner is about as far-fetched as the Leafs winning 2 playoff rounds. Ooh, savage. Oh, that's harsh. Man. Okay, so what about Phoenix? That doesn't seem too far from Glendale. One of the Hail Marys to keep the Coyotes in Arizona is that the new Phoenix Sun owner and noted Nikola Jokic antagonist Matt Ishbia, a Spartan by the way, would welcome the franchise to share the Footprint Center, a.k.a. America West Arena, a.k.a. the place the Coyotes originally played after relocating from Winnipeg. Go figure. That plays into the Atlanta rumor, too, that... Let's see. So the team that left Winnipeg became the Arizona Coyotes, Atlanta then moved to Winnipeg to become the Winnipeg Jets. What if it was like another triangle? Like, what if Arizona moved to Atlanta then to complete the full cycle? Yeah, about that. It's not built for hockey. There would be about 4,500 obstructed view seats behind one of the nets that offer the kind of rink-reduced views not seen since the halcyon days of the Islanders at Barclays Center. The arena just had a renovation that totaled over $230 million. Didn't include anything that would have made it more hockey-friendly, despite having an NHL team down the road whose arena situation was tenuous at best. They don't want to split sponsorship money or naming rights or anything else with the NHL tenant. Like most HGTV shows, the renovation tells the story. Okay, love it or list it. All right, so back to Glendale. Laughs uncontrollably. That's not even mentioning Atlanta. Third time's a charm. Portland, Oklahoma City, and Milwaukee, all of whom have been mentioned on the NHL's radar. Atlanta would be... Wait, third time? I wonder what their first time was. I knew about the Thrashers, but I don't recall their first time. While we were all arguing about where the Coyotes should relocate, a hand shot up through the dirt on the team's grave. Gutierrez sent a letter to the team's fans confirming they'd play at Mullet Arena next season. But in addition, he said, "We're committed to Arizona and have already started engaging with local officials and his sites to solidify a new permanent home in the Valley." So, maybe the Coyotes will once again have stared in the abyss of NHL relocation and walked back from it onto the next unused parcel of land, onto the next city council or voter bloc to convince. Color me skeptical. Well, this one felt different, like the end of something, like they took their last best shot and missed the net high and wide. I respect the defiant tone, which might sell a few more Kachina jerseys before next season, but I sort of think the Coyotes' run has finally gone the distance. Don't misread me. I'm not okay with Arizona no longer having the NHL. Not with a media market that large. Not with the intense dedication of all the fans who have followed the Coyotes through all of this. Not with the burgeoning local hockey programs that could produce the next Austin Matthews, currently pressing his face against the glass to watch Clayton Keller skate. But maybe the NHL team in Arizona can't be the Coyotes anymore. Maybe the voters are telling us that the baggage the Coyotes dragged with them from Glendale was just too much to ignore. Maybe the market needs a reset and a clean slate. As we said earlier, the franchise has been through a lot, maybe too much. Maybe they need a break from it too. But the important thing is that the end of the Coyotes is not the end of hockey in Arizona, nor should it be. Like any great 1980s horror movie, there's always a sequel. Man, that's a good read. I'll skim through the rest of these descriptions and get back to you guys next week. But like I said, it's fascinating. It's the new soap opera. They seem to be becoming like the NFL. There's always something new to talk about. So, all right. So second intermission is upon us. Vegas leads the Dallas Stars 4-0 in the Western Conference Finals. This is Game 3. Vegas leads the series 2-0. They're eyeing a 3-0 series lead. On the verge of a second trip to the Stanley Cup Finals in only their, 6th year of existence? Crazy. On the Eastern Conference side of things, with the Florida Panthers having a 3-0 lead in their series over the Carolina almost did it. Florida Panthers, Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Panthers play a different sport. So with the Heat and the Panthers, South Florida runs the 2023 sports world. Not to mention FAU and the Miami Hurricanes in the NCAA Final Four. ESPN.com yesterday. Right now, South Right now, South Florida is the axis on which the sports world turns. In both basketball and hockey, squads from the Miami area and beyond have been punching well above their weight. Upsets are the rule rather than the exception. Cinderella runs go way past midnight, and in general, no team with a 1 next to its name wants to play anyone from a South Florida team right now. Here's a quick look back at the improbable run of Florida dominance. Men's NCAA tournament, Miami and Florida Atlantic. Miami Hurricanes and Florida Atlantic Owls were 5th and 9th seeds, respectively, going into the NCAA tournament. They certainly didn't play like it. Miami knocked off the 4th seed Indiana Hoosiers, number 1 seed Houston Cougars, number 2 seed Texas Longhorns to make their first Final Four in tournament history. Meanwhile, the Owls defeated the 8 seed Memphis Tigers, stopped the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson Knights, and beat the number 4 seed Tennessee Volunteers and 3 seed Kansas State Wildcats, becoming only the second ever 9 seed to make the Final Four. While both lost in the Final Four, FAU came achingly close to upsetting the 5 seed San Diego State Aztecs and continuing their improbable run. Women's NCAA tournament, Miami, another big run for the Hurricanes. Miami beat the 8 seed Oklahoma State Cowgirls, number 1 seed Indiana Hoosiers, number 4 seed Villanova Wildcats, losing only to eventual champion LSU Tigers in the Elite 8. On the Stanley Cup side, we got Florida Panthers. The Boston Bruins had one of the greatest regular seasons in NHL history, setting records for wins with 65 and points with 135, on their way to a first-round matchup against the Florida Panthers, who had 42 wins and only 92 points. Respectable for sure, but nowhere near historic. When the Bruins took a 3-1 lead in the series, it looked like things would go over for the Panthers, but they roared back, winning 3 games in a row and stunning the Bruins. Then they defeated the Maple Leafs in 5 games, and now are up 2-0, now 3-0 on the Carolina Hurricanes. One more win, and they make the Stanley Cup final. In the NBA playoffs, we got the Miami Heat. Though Miami's playoff run started off inauspiciously with a loss to the Atlanta Hawks in the play-in, the Heat defeated the Bulls to advance to the next round against the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks, whom they promptly dispatched in 5 games, including a 56-point outburst by Butler in Game 4. They then beat the New York Knicks in 6 games to face off against the Boston Celtics, and they're dominating that series 3-0 now. In case anyone doubted the legend of playoff Jimmy Butler, well, it looks like he's absolutely for real. Lastly, in golf, we got Brooks Koepka, who just won the PGA Championship. He's not a team per se, but Koepka is a West Palm Beach native. He hadn't won a major tournament since 2019 and was ranked 44th going into the 2023 PGA Championship, which he then won Sunday by 2 strokes. The year of South Florida continues unabated. So, there you go. Like I said, it's just crazy how how the stories kind of write themselves sometimes. Okay, so we're in second intermission, so one more period to go. Vegas is still up on Dallas 4-0. Jamie Benn is still out. What else? We will see if Vegas can hold on to this lead. Maybe increase it a little more, or if Dallas can come back. Second period ended with, what? 21.6 seconds left on the clock. That's weird. Well, you heard it. That's the horn. We're going to get out of here for the night. Going to go enjoy some more hockey, and hope all of you do as well. We once again want to thank all of our Patreon supporters: Bay Area Raised, M. Los Great, Key to the Gate, as well as Anonymous. We want to thank everybody at the channel and wish them a continued happy birthday celebration, 9 years in existence. I want to thank Larry and Taryn and, of course, Adam. He will be off next week, so just me again next week. Wish everybody the best and hope everybody has a fantastic week. We will talk to you again next week. Stay tuned for Cale Henderson and the Sin City Sports. Have a great night.